Catapults. In the Fourth Era, no less. For shame. This is the kind of strategic impairment I'd expect of the Nords, but even the Imperials still managed to disappoint as well. If only I'd been in command of the siege of Whiterun, the city walls would have been completely overrun in the first minute of battle. And by overrun, I of course mean levitated over top of. I can at least respect that the combatants didn't resort to primitive siege ladders that would have been absolutely pathetic, especially considering that the Dragonborn could have taken out those pitiful wall sections with a gentle sneeze. Earnestly, watching Nords and Imperials whack at each other with metal paddles was about as heroically inspiring as watching a torch bug nibble on cow shit. How General Tullius went his entire military career without seeing the value of using a fireball spell is beyond incongruous. It defies the very necessities of battle and proves the tender meekness of Cyrodiil's overtly backward military dogma. To the less magically inclined, it would be as though fighting a war while insisting swords were too heavy for the troops to carry. The sheer tactical incompetence on display goes beyond pity and nestles itself snugly between the realms of Sheogorath and Sanguine. Ulfric at least knew one spell. I can respect that. It's the only thing about the Civil War I can respect, in fact. One spell. To think an entire war was fought in the fantasy land of Skyrim, with quite possibly only one spell being cast off-screen. The Needs and their ilk are simply incorrigible in their gleeful pursuit of ignorance. Potions. My God, did they even think to use potions? Stamina potions. Please tell me that the almost entirely melee-oriented armies of Skyrim at least had the due diligence to carry stamina potions. Never mind. I just realized I used the words Skyrim and diligent in the same sentence. The lot of them were probably guzzling down giant toes, thinking it would bring them luck or something. I shit you not, the undead toads of the Nordic tombs used more magic to sit upright than the entire marching force of the Skyrim Civil War ever used combined. I've literally summoned mud crabs more magical than that conflict could have even ever imagined. But let's put magic aside for a moment. It's difficult for me too, I know. But just try to imagine. You're a Nord. You grew up tending fields, hunting rabbits, and sniffing mammoth dung for a quick high, just like your ancestors did. Perhaps you've never read a book or even counted a number your whole life through. So of course you're only going to know to fight using mundane means. It's not your fault. What is your fault, though, is worshipping literal gods that grant you magical powers, and not realizing that you live in a world powered by spells. Your own gods, dude. They literally cast buff spells for you when you ask them nicely, and you've just never even thought of casting one on your own. It rattles comprehension. I'm not even sure if the Imperial or Stormcloak armies think to carry around a portable shrine. By Talos, they go into battle without any divine buffs. It's just incredible. You actually have to do some deep thinking about how stupid they are. It's that bad. Don't even get me started on the lack of staffs. Actual magic sticks that come precast with a spell, and not a single commander on either side thought that maybe a staff of courage might have helped their shield wall. You don't even need to be a skilled mage to use a staff. They could have given every peasant a fireball staff and had them stand in a firing line to maximize damage and accuracy. Maybe they could have even affixed daggers to the staffs if they were still really insistent on melee combat, or for when their staffs ran out of charge. I'm just spitballing here, people. My goodness, these aren't even as complicated as magic scrolls. You don't even have to read a staff. It would have been the perfect weapon for the bumpkin brigades of the Stormcloak army. In fact, since magic goes right through armor, why not just wear fancy outfits and tall, fuzzy hats to dab on your opponent during a battle as well? Show them the cut of your jib, what ho. Why, I can see it now. A buttoned-up formation of finely strapped and well-to-do sleepers, marching proudly across an emblazoned tamriel, stomping to the drumbeat of a sixth house sermon and chanting Akulakan's name to any barbarians foolish enough to stand before us. By Magnus, why didn't I think of this before it seems so obvious now? Cheap mass-produced fireball staffs for a horde of disciplined and well-whipped peasants. How could you lose? Maybe even make an enchanted log that fires really big fireball spells in an arc over long distances. Fuck, that's just a catapult, fuck.